Have you ever stopped to think about that exact moment when two inseparable souls must follow different paths? Yeah, that's exactly what happened between Gon and Killua, two boys who crossed the world side by side, facing monsters, hunters, and dilemmas bigger than their age, until the instant when fate, silent and cruel, forced them to say goodbye. From their very first encounter during the hunter exam, their bond was instant. Gon with his almost naive light, a hope that seemed to infect everything around him. Killua with his restrained darkness, heir to a family of assassins, carrying the weight of a childhood forged in brutality. They were opposites, yet perfectly complementary, like the sun and the moon sharing the same sky. Together, they lived adventures that marked not only the history of Hunter x Hunter, but also the hearts of fans. They faced brutal tournaments, political schemes, nearly unsolvable mysteries, and enemies that tested their mental and emotional limit. Gon grew with every challenge, always guided by a pure desire to find his father, Jing. Killua, on the other hand, slowly freed himself from the invisible chains of his family, discovering what it meant to choose for himself. But, as with every great journey, there comes a point where the road splits, and in their case, this fork wasn't marked by battles or shouting. It was marked by a silence filled with meaning. After the intense Chimera Ant arc, and the devastating consequences of Gon's power, Killua found a new purpose: to protect his sister, Aluka, with all his heart. It was something only he could do. It wasn't about following in Gon's footsteps anymore. It was about building his own path. Gon, meanwhile, after achieving the impossible and finally meeting his father, found himself emptied. The mission that had driven him from the very beginning had been completed, but at what cost? His body broken, his heart shaken, and a friendship that, while intact in feeling, was no longer following the same route. Gon needed to rediscover himself. Killua needed to protect, and neither could give up who they truly were. Then came that moment. No explosions, no exaggerated drama. Just two boys standing there, looking at each other, fully aware that this see you later hurt more than any fight. Killua took the lead. With a calm smile, that unique mix of warmth and mischief, he made it clear that his path would now be by Aluka's side. Gon, with that sincere and vulnerable look, understood. There was no resentment, no guilt, just mutual recognition that each had a different mission to fulfill. And that's what makes their story even more beautiful. Because true friendship isn't the one that never changes. It's the one that continues to exist, even when the roads diverge. Oh, and speaking of paths that cross and transform, let me tell you something real quick. If you want to give your stories, streams, or videos that professional studio quality voice, the Shure MV7 with articulated arm is simply phenomenal. It delivers crystal clear sound, captures every nuance, and makes your setup look like that of a serious creator. Worth every cent. Back to the story. Gon and Killua's farewell wasn't a sad goodbye in the traditional sense. It was the natural closing of a chapter that had given everything it could. They had grown, and growth, as beautiful as it is, sometimes demands distance. Gon set out to rediscover who he was beyond the search for his father. Killua finally lived a life of true freedom, far from the shadow of the Zoldyck family. They didn't stop loving each other as friends. Quite the opposite. They proved their bond was so strong it didn't need constant presence to exist. And maybe that's why this scene is so unforgettable. It's not about explosive emotion. It's about maturity and the understanding that true love, whether friendship or otherwise, also means knowing when to let go. Deep down, the question that lingers is, will these two paths that once split ever cross again, or will each continue forever under a different sky